Okay, so I don't know how to start this, but rejection is not your enemy. It's most probably your guide. I used to take every no in tango kind of personally, like a little punch or a bruise in my confidence. But over time, I realized that those rejections weren't aiming to hurt me, but most probably to guide me somewhere, and not just in the dance. Welcome to Goodnight Tango, the channel about tango in real life. I'm Jesus, I'm dancing tango for 8 years now, and for the last 3 years, I'm also writing about that in my blog. In this video, I want to share with you my experience and my relation to rejection in terms of the tango and also in terms of life. So when I started tango, it was almost 9 years ago. And in the first year, I wasn't really dancing, I wasn't really joining the milongas, I was only taking classes. But as soon as I started going to the milongas, I started having the experience of getting rejected, or rather I would say ignored. However, since I was self-aware that I was still a beginner, I was still in my first steps in tango, and maybe the partners that I was searching for were maybe a little bit longer in this journey and more experienced, I wasn't taking it very personally in terms of, okay, they don't want to dance me, they don't like me or whatever else, but I was taking it more like a fuel for development. So it was like a motivation to get better. I would think, okay, this dancer is better than me. Obviously, she needs some more from my side in order to accept me to dance with her. So I need to improve myself. I need to improve my techniques, maybe improve my vocabulary, maybe improve whatever else in order to be able to connect, in order to be able to be accepted by her and approved and danced with her. So in this stage, rejection felt more like a challenge in a video game, a new level that I had to unlock, a new level that I had to pass through. And in order to do that, I had to acquire some skills, go through some more challenges, some more development in order to grow, get more equipment, and be able to go through that level. Moreover, most of the milongas that I was visiting back then were milongas that were organized from my teacher and from my school. So many of the people who participated were students in the classes, and we already had categorized dancers into different levels. Like, you know, you were a beginner, you were an intermediate, they were advanced, whatever else. So there was this kind of categorization, and trying to dance with somebody in a higher level felt a bit more difficult, and there was a reason behind. I mean, you could understand that, okay, they are better than you and probably they don't want to dance with you because you're not as good as them. So it felt kind of natural at this stage, and I didn't really have a problem with it. But then life forced me to change place. So I had to move to Frankfurt, to a totally new community that I didn't know anybody. I also didn't know who was a beginner, who was an advanced, who was an intermediate, how long each person was dancing, how long was the experience of each person. So there was no categorization between the people in the milongas, who is at this level or the other level or whatever else. I could only maybe judge, or I could only maybe understand a bit of the level based on what I was seeing in the milongas. So it was only based on like experience or based on seeing people. Moreover, the community in Frankfurt is quite, I would say, multicultural, and because of the city, it has a lot of people that come and go. It has a lot of people that come from other communities. They stay here for like a couple of years maybe, then they go, and you have a constant flow of new dancers that come and go. And you never know if the dancers that come in are like very experienced with years of experience or not, if they are beginners or not. You have to find it out in your journey. You have to find it out in the community, in the milongas, when you dance with them. So when I arrived, I was one of those new dancers. Nobody knew how long was I dancing. Nobody knew at which level I was. Nobody knew how good were my skills, my technical skills or whatever else. So they had to test me. But what happened is that I realized that I was dancing maybe with dancers that had more experience with me. They were better skilled with me. And they didn't have a problem, first of all, to accept me because of my level. First of all, they didn't know the level. But they didn't have a problem dancing with me. And also, what was my surprise is that no matter how good the dancer was, how well skilled the dancer was, I would see that my level and my skills were good enough to provide a satisfying experience for them. At least, I mean, they were happy after finishing a tanda with me, and in many cases, they were also happy to dance again with me, which was a good sign for me. So, as you understand, joining a community that was such a welcoming community and warm community, and having all these experiences with dancers and being approved, accepted to dance with dancers and dancing again and again with them, helped me a lot in my confidence. I mean, I realized that it wasn't the experience that mattered. It wasn't the many years that I was dancing, or it wasn't the level that I was that mattered. But it was mostly if I could just connect with them, if I could just communicate with them and have a pleasurable experience in the end. So having had all this confidence boost from the community here in Frankfurt, when I was traveling back to Thessaloniki, when I was traveling back to my home community, if I could say so, and people knew me at the level that I was, and I have been boxed into a specific level and all these other things that come with it, I would still face rejection. I would still face rejection from maybe more advanced followers. I knew that I could provide an enjoyable experience to my partner. I knew that I was able to have a nice stand-up with a more experienced dancer. So when I was getting rejected, I was facing the rejection slightly different now. I was facing the rejection from a level of confidence where I would say, okay, I know what I can offer. I know what I can do. If you don't want that, if you don't appreciate that, and if you not willing to get me a chance, to give me a chance to dance with you and see how it looks and see how it feels, then it's not my problem, because I know what I can do, I know what I can provide. If you don't want to experience this, it's not my problem. I would say that my attitude was a bit more sassy, I would say. I mean, I was like Beyonce.
Girl, you don't know what you're missing. I'm good enough. And if you don't want to dance with me, it's your problem.
However, having gone through this phase of being more confident with my dance, I would approach the dance and I would approach the rejection a little bit different also in terms of the motivation. I would say, okay, I'm motivated to get better. I will probably take classes sometime. I will probably get some seminars to improve things here and there. But I would not do it to get the approval or dance with somebody else. I would mostly do it for my own satisfaction and my own well-being and sense of improving. So at this stage, rejection was still a motivation, but not as strong as a motivation as in the beginning. Don't get me wrong, I don't mean to say that at this phase I didn't want to improve anymore because I felt that I was the perfect dancer and I could dance with anybody. I would still have motivation to improve myself, but the motivation was not really driven by rejection anymore. I mean, okay, I would be rejected from some partners now and then, but that would not be my biggest motivation to improve myself. My biggest motivation to improve myself was myself, was my own sense of knowing and wanting to progress in my dance, in my life. In the last few years, having already taken classes from different teachers, having already danced in different other events, and having endured also rejection and approval from good and better dancers than me, I started developing a little bit different approach for the rejection. I started developing an approach which is a bit more stoic or a bit more zen, I would say. I would approach it like this. I would say, if I want to dance with somebody and I'm curious to dance with somebody new that I don't know and they reject me, then I'm curious to learn about them. I'm curious to find out about them, but they are not curious to find out about me. So I am not really interested to dance with somebody who is not curious to discover me. Dancing with somebody that you don't know is a discovery journey. You learn each other, you meet each other for the first time, you learn each other through your body movements, you exchange ideas, emotions, movements, and this is an exploration of each other. If I am curious to find out how you move, how you feel, how you communicate, then it's okay. I will invite you. But if you're not curious to do the same for me, then Why should I invite you and try to figure out who you are and your sense and your emotions and your communication if you're not curious to do that same for me? Now, when I dance with a new partner, especially when it is a better than me or a more experienced than me partner, I don't want to do that just to get an approval or a stamp that I dance with this or the other partner. I want to do that just because I want to explore you. I want to find out about you. I want to discover who you are and how you dance. And I want to see how we fit together. Okay, if the other person is not curious to do the same for me, then maybe we're not in the same place at the moment. We're not at the same place, and it's better maybe to not try it at all. So I see rejection now more like I'm saved from a bad experience. I'm saved from an experience that I will not enjoy in any case. Because if I enter this experience of dancing with somebody new without having this mutual interest for the other person, then obviously the dance will not be such an enjoyable experience for me, at least for me. I don't know for the other person, maybe it will be, but at least for me, if you approach the tanda, if you come to dance with me just because you were forced or just because you felt that you were pressed to dance with me or whatever else, and you don't have this curiosity to discover who I am, how I dance, and how I express myself, it doesn't really matter. So instead of being rejected, I feel more like being saved from a meaningless experience. Because if I dance with this person in the end, without having this curiosity to discover each other, for me it is more like a meaningless experience, something that I could do anytime with any person. And it doesn't really give me, and it doesn't really give me what I want from this dance. And again, don't get me wrong, being in this stage doesn't mean that you don't fall back to other stages before. So being in this stage doesn't mean that I don't see rejection also as a motivation sometimes, or I don't see rejection as like I'm too confident and I approach it like a loss for the other person. But most of the times now I just see it as something that happens. Okay, they don't want to dance with me. It's better that way. Having said all that, I'm curious to know what is your experience with rejection. How do you approach it? How do you feel about that? Do you take it personally? Do you see it as a motivation? You don't care about that? What is your approach to rejection in general? Let me know in the comments. Tango helped me realize the same phenomenon happening in other aspects of your life. The more you are at a place, rejection can feel in the beginning as a personal motivation or something that helps you to grow. And the more you grow, the more you handle rejection differently, and the more you see rejection as something that is normal or something that maybe protects you, saves you from a bad experience or from a bad work or from a bad relationship or whatever else in life. So next time you face rejection, maybe it's just the universe saving you from a bad experience. If you like this video, I believe that you will also like the video about my journey with self-expression that you see over here. Check this out and don't forget to move forward both in the dance floor and in your life. Bye!